Congressman Raskin.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Mr. Cuffari, your duty under the Inspector General Act is to immediately report flagrant and serious abuses that are taking place. You were aware, at least as early as May of 2021, that the Secret Service had erased thousands of text messages that were sent before and during the January 6th violent attack on the Capitol, the Congress, and the Vice President. But you failed to notify Congress for 14 months, for a year and 2 months, that the Secret Service was refusing to comply with your requests for information. So why didn't you immediately report, as you are statutorily bound to do, these serious and flagrant failures to answer your questions about the disappearance of thousands of texts that were sent during January 6th?
Just so the record's clear, Congressman, we were not informed by the Secret Service on the date that you described in 21. In fact, at no time in 21 were we informed that Secret Service had deleted and was no longer able to retrieve text messages on cell phones owned by the Secret Service.
So when did you become aware of that?
In February, I believe, of 2022.
Well, we have documents showing that just 6 weeks after the initial request for documents from the Secret Service, you canceled requests to the Secret Service for phone records and text messages. Why did you do that?
If I recall correctly, and I mentioned during my prepared remarks here, DHS was delaying or denying us access to relevant information. Did you report that to Congress at that point, or ask for a report to Congress? I was working with the senior leadership of the department to free up or to pry loose information that the department was withholding from us. In fact, I met with the Secretary of Homeland Security in about September or October of 21, explained to him that we were having delays in getting information. And the Secretary saw fit to publish a memo in which he directed all the employees in the department to cooperate with our office. We subsequently received a tranche of documents from the department. They were basically emails that we had been waiting for 8 months to receive. I think there were about 700,000 emails.
Yeah. Well, what I don't understand is your office revived the request that you nullified 6 weeks after originally making it. 5 months later, in December of 2021, is what the paper trail reveals. But what I don't understand is your statutory duty to immediately inform Congress about this flagrant abuse. I mean, we're talking about the worst violent insurrection against Congress in the history of the United States, and the Secret Service is not cooperating with your request for information. Why did you not think that you needed to immediately alert Congress to that fact?
I was working with senior leadership in the Department of Homeland Security to get the records we were lawfully entitled to receive. They were also, the department was also under 4 preservation notices by congressional oversight committees last Congress. And to my knowledge, the department never informed Congress that itself had deleted the messages, nor were they ever asked.
But that's the role of the Inspector General. That's why we have an Inspector General. Look, in June of 2022, you published your semi-annual report where there was going to be a reference to the Secret Service's obstruction of this investigative path, and you removed that. Why was the reference to the Secret Service's obstruction deliberately deleted from the June 22nd semi-annual report of the Inspector General?
I believe our first notification to Congress was in the fall of 21 in our semi-annual report where we described the delays the department was doing to us and prohibiting us from receiving requested information.
Well, did you sign off on the decision to remove this reference from the report?
I don't know when that reference was.
In June 2022, there was going to be a reference to Secret Service's obstruction of questioning about the disappearance of the texts, and that was deliberately removed. Did you sign off on that deliberate removal?
I signed off on the removal, and I signed a letter specifically to the January 6th Oversight Committee and to this Oversight Committee.
But why did you remove it?
Your time has expired. I'm going to say something here. I think what's going on the border is the biggest crisis this country has to deal with today. And it's not surprising that when the number of people coming into this country is increased by a factor of 11, it would have a tremendous impact on the morale of the Border Patrol. I realize Mr. Cuffari Dr. Cuffari was originally appointed by Donald Trump, and some people are never going to get over that. But our focus today should be on what's going there. We could have a million hearings on the southern border, but today we're going to focus on the morale of the Border Patrol and what effect this increase by a factor of 10 the number of people coming across has. And I've been down on the border many times. I can assure you, if you go down there, the Border Patrol agents will tell you all sorts of things. But in any event, next we have Mr. Hagan.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to also just add, I think the questions that have been asked so far and the statements on our side have been all within the scope of the hearing. I think that we're merely pointing out flaws and issues within the witness and the witness's statements. And so I just want to just add that I think that our line of questioning so far has been very reasonable within the scope of the hearing.
Mr. Hagan.